So do you think, was there anything that you want to discuss or anything that any direction that you wanted to take this?
My biggest self project right now is staying wholeheartedly connected with the people that are closest to me. I do a great job of winning people over and being that social butterfly and warm and funny, and I only let people get so close. There's a bit of a wall, a gap that I put up to say, okay, that's close enough, that's good. And it's particularly been playing out here recently with my marriage and my husband, my partner. So we show love in very different ways. I think we've learned that, and I think the biggest part of the book that I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I'm working on is I am me, you are you, and if we can come together in that space, that's cool, and if we can't, that's cool too. Like, I don't need him to show love in the way that I do. To me, like, I've always taken it as you're not showing me love because you're not doing it in the way that I like to receive love.
Yeah, I mean, I heard a lot. I heard a lot. So thank you for sharing that. And I would say that all those things that you said about your charisma and your likability, I see that right off the bat. I'm like, wow, you're so likable. You're such a good communicator, beautiful. It's like, I'm happy to be talking to you. And then I also heard, and I've never really thought about it this way, but I heard something along the lines of like, maybe your likability is taking a front seat to your lovability. And yeah, that's fascinating. And then also a major thing that was hitting me when you were talking was, I'm assuming you've heard of the book or read the book from I think it's Gary Chapman, The Four Love Languages. Have you ever heard it? Yeah, it sounded very like on brand. Have you ever classified yourself as a certain love language and your husband as the other dominant love language?
We have a little bit, yes.
Yeah, I would say that let's talk about the idea of likability versus being loved. It reminds me also, for another metaphor, the idea of a peacemaker versus a peacekeeper. So the peacekeeper would be the likable one, and the peacemaker would be more on the loving vibration, in the sense that it's deeper, it's scarier, it's less understandable. It goes into the idea of like, is conflict one of the best ways to connect and to communicate? And is avoiding those topics, is that the difference of keeping peace versus making peace? Is that the difference between just like scratching the surface versus going all in? And I'm so happy. Like I'm a firm believer in the idea that for growth to take place, it typically, there's always rules to break, but it typically follows that pattern of like awareness, acceptance, and action. And those like the 3 chronological steps for growth to take place. And it seems as you are aware that you're so likable that it's potentially seducing people from not going deeper. Maybe they don't want to. Maybe they're having so much fun liking you, they don't want to mess it up, or maybe you don't want to mess it up because it's so easy.
My father was not in my life until, from an early age, and I feel like I'm so not into having that shape the person that I am right now. But I do think there is like a circular thing that I keep coming around, which is like, oops.
We lost her for a second. What happened? What does that mean? What does that mean that we lost her call? That was the first time that happened. It seems like the internet's fine. It's just like cutting you out.
Yeah, there's another call that's trying to come in, and I don't know why it keeps doing.
Oh, okay, that's what's happening. That makes sense. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's this sort of thing that keeps coming around for me of like, is the wall me protecting myself from others or protecting others from myself?
That's so interesting too. Like, so let's just take this organically where it's going. And I have a feeling this might resonate with you. If this is a dream, whether we're alive or awake, metaphorically, some sort of dream that's happening for us, what does it mean to you that call keeps coming in during this chat?
Because what I crave the frustrated when it remains at a certain level of connection.
And that's what I'm saying. How neat, how synchronous is it that during this, and this has never happened to any of my calls for whatever reason, that it's like you were asking if is it me putting a wall up because I don't want to be fully known, or are they putting a wall up because they don't want to be fully known? And in the meantime, while you were saying something like that, it's like this call kept coming in, kind of taking away from our connection. So I'm curious if, like, let's pretend this is a dream right now. How would you analyze this dream or interpret this dream? What is this dream telling you right now? Who's calling? Who is that? What is it? It doesn't even have to be literally who the person that's calling, but what does the person that's calling represent to you in this moment? I'm picturing you as an octopus, or all of us as, let's just pretend we're all octopi. And we have 8 legs with 20 suckers on each leg. It almost is starting to sound like you're trying to use each sucker on a different person. And it might be sacrificing the ability to use a whole leg on one person, where you have 20 different points of connection with one person rather than 20 different points of connection with 20 different people. Or even imagine having 8 times 20, all 8 legs and 20 suckers connected with one person at one time. So that is now 160 times the connection with one person, and it doesn't have to be that way forever. But I am wondering if you somehow started connecting with people where no distractions were a possibility. There was nothing that could, maybe forming creative constraints as we did for this 11 minutes. Maybe that's what it's going to start looking like for you, is when you are connecting with someone, that you're committed to going deep for a full 30 minutes with nothing that could take you away from that.
That's so crazy, Dan. That's what it is. I teach fitness classes, so I'm all about like being friends with all these people, right? Like creating my community, my tribe, all these people. But I'm like, but really, if shit got real and like I just needed that person, which one of those people would I be like, help me? And I don't like, it hasn't gotten that deep. And there's a part of me that's fulfilled from that, right? It's like I have all these people that are so great to be around, and they help me with my, my wellness goals and things like that. But to your point, it's like a fraction of the energy to each person versus that like deep, intense energy with a few people.
Yeah, and that's what I heard, and I got a lot of good God bumps, goosebumps. I call them God bumps. I think when we get God bumps, when I get God bumps, it's a good affirmation. Like I'm in the flow. This is a synchronicity. This is where God wants me to be. And the octopus does dive deep. It does dive deep. But if it's trying to catch 100, and that's the amazing thing about octopus. If we're going to go roll this metaphor, it's a miraculous creature that has the ability to have all these different connections at once. But that doesn't mean that's where the deepest connection is found. The deepest connection might be found when it's that one octopus with one other octopus all the way to the bottom together, fully present with each other. And maybe your fitness classes show one end of the spectrum, and maybe it's time to start experiencing the other end of the spectrum. Maybe it's what your husband is wanting. I'm not sure. And it might be, I try the creative constraints, like really focusing for 30 minutes. Or 45 minutes, like just like how long are your fitness classes? An hour. So maybe start experimenting on the opposite end of the spectrum, one person, 1 hour. Or maybe it's yourself in 1 hour, where there's nothing that can take any of your attention away except you. Yeah, how this has shown up for my life is I've been so captivated by the expansiveness and amazingness and infiniteness of planet Earth. Like the idea that there's like 50 states and the United States alone, and there's all these countries I haven't been to, and all these people I haven't met, like billions and billions, and it's like exponentially growing potentially. And then I've spent a lot of time exploring the depth of outer space in a way to realize like it might be reflecting what's inside of me as well. And it's like, wow, I don't know if one's deeper than the other, really. I think they're just almost directly reflective of each other in a very unique, in different forms. Yeah, well, I mean, I think what I heard would be an awesome exercise for you to start practicing is the same way that you do your fitness classes, to start doing them with one person, and maybe not only the depth of that time is you're committed to and the creative constraint of the alone time, but also maybe you can build creative constraints around what is communicated, like going to the scariest places, going to the happiest places. Like then you can, once you're now into this quantitative hour of one-on-one time, now you can go to like a qualitative hour, which is how much can we get out of this hour? How much can we get out of this 11 minutes? And I feel like, I think the timer must be happening any minute now. I don't know if that one goes off, but that's how I feel about this time that we've had. Like this is a great thing for me and you. And I think the way I could recognize that is I've played the same game you have. Given my attention to so many different people at one time, it's so easy with all this different technology. But I trust that I'm not going to be forgetting. Not only am I not forgetting, but I'm also being reminded of the power on the other side of the scale, which is like the power and the depth of one-on-one communication. And that can be me on me. It could be me exploring all the different parts of myself for an hour.
Run, guan, guan, guan. 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 Run, guan, guan, guan.
I'm happy we had this one. This one kind of tripped me out with the beyond time here.